Hey, what up, family? What's happening? This is the latest news that you need to know. They're talking about a growing number of businesses are trying to move towards a cashless society where they will not accept people cash. Instead, they'll have reverse ATM set up that will take your cash and turn it into a debit card. Now, think about that. They'll charge you $5 to turn your cash into a debit card, and at the same time, charge you for every transaction that you're using. What a way to tax you and to surveil your every move. Now, people, the best way to do this is to boycott these businesses and not patronize businesses that do go cashless, and to try to avoid them as much as possible because they're trying to take the physical dollar out of people's hands and out of the streets and pretty much go completely central bank digital currency with this. That's why you notice it's been a lot of deaths into the digital currency world founders. But they're saying that these states right here, these four states, protect customers from businesses telling them they can't completely go cashless. But New York, there are businesses there. It's starting with stadiums and certain. They're starting to say that certain fast food restaurants will only accept these debit cards and stuff like that. But people should not patronize these businesses. Just let them fail, and they'll see why they failed. And this is a way for them to basically control everything. And the most amazing and scary thing about this is all this happened right after the death of the Cash App founder. Tech executive Bob Lee, founder of Cash App, dead after apparent stabbing in San Francisco. Now, all these murders of these digital currency owners or founders in the middle of a financial reset. And 24 hours after Bob Lee's death, the founder of Cash App, the Federal Reserve announces that they will come out with their own Cash App version called the FedNow app. And the FedNow app is pretty much a way to surveil everything. They say it's a coincidence that the founder of Cash App, Bob Lee, was just found dead after being stabbed in San Francisco, while the Federal Reserve is set to launch its FedNow digital financial service in July of this year, which has similar functions to the Cash App, but with more government control. Really, is this a coincidence? The Fed will initially limit its CBDC to interbank transactions, but we should not be blind to obvious danger. This is the first step in banning and seizing Bitcoin, as the Treasury did with gold 90 years ago today, 1933. And this is true because it's true. Just like they moved away from the gold reserves, instead of the dollar being backed by gold, it got backed by petrol, the Saudis' oils and the Persian Gulf's oils. So the dollar got backed by that instead of the gold. And just like they got rid of the gold, they're trying to get rid of the cash dollar now. And they're trying to get people to use these ATM, these reverse ATMs, which pretty much take your money and give you a debit card. What a nice way to name it. And they'll charge you $5 for the debit card. And not only just $5 for the debit card, they'll charge you for spending fees for every transaction. Think about that. What a good way to tax you and to surveil you and to pretty much expire your money at the same time. Now, just like they said they will use this for germs and everything, and you've been saying that the death or the unaliving of a lot of these crypto billionaires. A lot of them. You see, and they're all young. Somehow, unexpectedly, just passed away. Think about it. This one passed away unexpectedly in his sleep. Young dude. This one took 215 million with him to the grave. Another one was beat up and captured and somehow tortured by some people. This one right here, 200 million lost in the secret account, somehow gone. Another one drowned after paranoid CIA tweets. Think about that. A lot of them have been found drowned. But you have the main one, the tech executive Bob Lee, the founder of Cash App, who was found unalive in an apparent poking. So this man was out at 2 o'clock in the morning. The billionaire that owns not only Cash App, but had something to do with the startup of the Android and many other apps, was out at 2 in the morning, walking around at night, and got poked up and was flagging cars down and was unalived. And 24 hours after his unaliving, somehow the Federal Reserve announced that within 24 hours they will come out with their own FedNow app, which will operate just like the Cash App, but with their own central digital bank currency, which will be able to surveil everything. Coincidence? Doesn't seem like it. It just seems like the government wants a whole lot of control. And this is literally the choice of the 1% who are making all these choices against everybody else. Think about this. It says that the Fed will initially limit its CBDC, its central bank digital currency, to interbank transactions. But we should not be blind to the obvious danger that this is the first step in banning and seizing Bitcoin and actual real money, just like the Treasury did with gold 90 years ago. Watch as the government, which never lets a good crisis go to waste, just like the one that we just left, and the banking crisis to usher in a new wave of central bank digital currencies as a safe haven from germ-laden paper currencies or as a protection against bank runs. And that's exactly what these businesses are trying to say. They're trying to use this excuse as the reason why they're trying to go cashless, is because this will eliminate the spread of germs and bacteria from paper currency. And this will also be a protection from bank robbers or thefts or robberies. And think about how dumb this sounds. So instead of you using cash now, you'll go up to an ATM that everybody else has been using, and you'll keep touching every single number on there that everybody else has been using. And now you'll get a credit card and use it everywhere else that everybody else has been using. And you'll also use the cashless cashier's station, and the without a cashier at that, self-serve, and at the same time everybody else is using that. So in a way, it's passing way more germs. You're using it at the pump and everywhere else. This is the worst excuse possible, and it's always a way to get people to do things. They gotta use a scare, and this is a way to scare people into using this digital currency instead of the dollar. With the dollar, you still have your privacy. This is a way to eliminate all your forms of privacy, because with this, they'll be able to make a whole lot of moves. They'll be able to control how you move and what you do and how you do what you do and where you do what you do at. It's a way to invade your privacy. They'll be able to surveil all your moves because everything will be tracked on record and online. Scary stuff, people. Wake up. Robberies, if anything, people will, instead of just taking your money, now they'll just take you with the money because they need to make sure that your numbers work on that card. And this is a scary way to go because it's a way to surveil everything. Now you have Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Now I love this dude because he speaks facts. He speaks so much truth. Now, he says that the Fed just announced it will introduce its FedNow central bank digital currency, CBDC, in July. CBDC greased the slippery slope to financial slavery and political tyranny. He is completely 100% right. This new FedNow Cash App, pretty much their Cash App version of the app, pretty much is going to be called FedNow, and pretty much they'll try to come out with their own digital kind of currency, and pretty much it will lead to financial slavery and political tyranny. He says while cash transactions are anonymous, which they are, a CBDC will allow a central bank digital currency will allow the government to surveil all private financial affairs. The central bank will have the power to enforce dollar limits on all our transactions, restricting where you can send money, where you can spend it, and when money expires. They are talking about that the digital currency that the government will come out with, that money can expire and that it will go back to the government. Think about that. They're trying to come out with a central bank digital coin, the government's form of digital currency, to get rid of the dollar and come out with this digital currency that can expire on you, which the government can take. So I guess no more inheritances and stuff like that, because the government can automatically just take that money before it expired. And at the same time, they can limit where you can spend the money, because Visa and MasterCard has something to do with this. And remember, Visa a couple months ago was talking about that they will put limits on their customers that have right-wing views or any, in a way, Republican comments or views or anything like that, which is very, very scary if they really implement this, because a CBDC tied to digital ID and social credit score will allow the government to freeze your assets or limit your spending to approved vendors if you fail to comply with the arbitrary diktats or any mandates or anything that they do not approve of. So if you don't go or you don't toe the line, they can make they could change it with your social digital credit score. Remember, Visa was trying to do that not that long ago with people that will go green and people that have right-wing views, that they will somehow limit their spending or in a way curb their spending. And with this, with the central bank digital currency, they can do this. Remember, this is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. saying this. He's saying, while cash transactions are anonymous, a CBDC will allow the government to surveil all our private financial affairs. The central bank will have the power to enforce the dollar limits on our transactions, restricting where you can send money, where you can spend it, and when money expires. A CBDC, a central bank digital currency tied to digital ID, which they're trying to go for, and a social credit score system, which they're trying to go for, will allow the government to freeze your assets or limit your spending to approved vendors that they approve. And if you fail to comply with arbitrary diktats or mandates or anything else that they deem approvable to them, then they can go ahead and let you do certain things and let you not do certain things, because they will be able to manage everything. They can bring in the social credit score system with this. They can bring in the digital ID system with this. They can bring in the mark of the beast and the implant digital IDs and everything like that with this. So the best thing to do, I think, is just to resist this and to stick to your hard asset money, because they're trying to crash that some type of way or another. We need to somehow get rid of these dumb politicians that are trying to crash the dollar for this purpose. We need to get rid of these politicians and get politicians that really do care about your average American citizen. These people are building other countries. Like, they just gave away $700 billion to all these other countries, but they don't have money to fix the United States, or to fix our infrastructure, or to even make a wall, or to do anything. They don't have that money, or student loans, or anything like that. They don't have money for your average American citizens to help your struggling families, or our homelessness, or our drug addictions, or they don't have money for that. But we have all the money for Ukraine, Israel, Egypt, Morocco, all these other countries that's in the world, to basically run our agendas and our forms of democracy and our LGBTQ liberal agendas everywhere, whether it's Pakistan to their teachers or to parts of Africa. We're trying to give countries in Africa $60 million to change their laws into liberal LGBTQ favored laws, instead of accepting their culture and whatever their democracy say, because they don't like our form of democracy. They say that our democracy is, if 9 people vote, we choose the person, the one person that voted against the 9, instead of going with the majority. And in Africa, they say majority ruled against it, so they're going with majority. And that's their form of democracy, and that is supposed to be democracy. But here, it seems like democracy is whatever the 1% says compared to whatever the 99% say. And whatever that 1% say is what goes. And as long as people are not saying anything and are not speaking up against it, it will continue to happen, and it will continue to be pushed right into your home and right into your kids and right into your way of life. And they're trying to change it. They're trying to change it. They're trying to take over farming. They're trying to take over this dollar. They're trying to change everything. This is literally almost like the Antichrist system happening right before our eyes. But people need to resist this and stay against this, stay away from it, because the U.S. Federal Reserve banking system launching its own cash app called the Fed now is a movement to get rid of physical money and having a digital currency where they can have a social credit score system against people, where they can tell you what you said was wrong or what you're saying is wrong, and we can limit now where you can spend your money and what you could do and where you can travel and where you cannot travel to. They can ban you now. They can literally do so much. Just think about what they did to the Tate. Andrew Tate, just because of all the things he was saying online, they banned this man off all platforms and all his banking systems, and even down to his Uber. They even canceled him down to Uber. Think about that. So if they don't like what you're saying or what you're doing or where you're buying from or what you're buying, they can now limit your spending in certain things. They can limit how much gas you can get. They can limit where you can go at. They can limit where you can travel to. That's kind of scary. Very, very scary. And people really need to wake up. And it seems like that's why it's been all these deaths in the digital world. It's because all these deaths are going on in the digital world is because it seems like they're trying to get rid of all competition. And they're not trying. They're also trying to get rid of anything that can get in their way or that can expose their system as being a surveil system, compared to where Bitcoin can't nobody surveil that. That's why people are going with Bitcoin and sticking to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin can't nobody surveil it and can't nobody literally track whatever your transactions is. It's a way to stay anonymous and a way to stay away from the surveil system. And that's the good thing about using cash. It's a good way to stay away from being surveilled for all your transactions and where you're buying your stuff at, where you're at that time. What are you doing with your money? It's like with credit cards, they can surveil every single move that you're making and where you're at exactly and what you're doing and where you're going to be at and think about it. And where you can spend your money and what can you spend your money on. It'll be all the way a social credit score system to where it's a form of martial law. So to me, I would completely stay away and not patronize any business that goes cashless, so that way they can crash. You see what happened with Bud Light and that boycott. It just went straight crashing just with a peaceful protest. And that's all people have to do, is just not patronize any of these businesses that go cashless, because it is a scary world. And if they go ahead with this system, they will be able to have a social credit score system against everything that you do, whether you throw trash, however you act in public, everything will be tracked. And it will be a way to usher in this super Orwellian state of complete surveillance. And that's what the 1% wants to do. They want to surveil everybody. They want to know what your next move is, what you're thinking, what your DNA is, who you're messing with, who you're seeing, or what time you're seeing them, where you're getting gas at, or who you're around, and what you're doing. And in a way, it's kind of dangerous. It invades all your forms of privacy. You no longer will have privacy in no type of way, because now every part of your life will be recorded, and it will be pretty much, they'll know. That is very, very scary, and people need to speak up against this or not at all go along with this system. Completely stay away from this system. Me personally, I'm staying away from this system, because I know with the Fed now and their central bank digital currency, they will be able to track everything and be able to tax everything. Now, the only way that they can make this happen and go all the way through is if you participate and go along with their plans. The best thing is to stay away and don't patronize none of the businesses that provide these kind of services only. Stay away from them and don't support them. And they're just going to crash, and we'll stay with our regular cash and without being surveilled all the way. But I don't know. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Please like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll get back to y'all with the latest news that you need to know.